Hello again everybody, and welcome back to Skyblock News. This is Skyblock Update 0.20.2, and it's related to the alpha that I've covered in the last few videos. I would have wanted to put all of that alpha information into one video, but the admins decided to release stuff slowly, day after day, and eventually it became a pretty large update which is out now, so if I skim over some stuff, it's because I've covered it in greater depth in previous videos. There is some new information here, and stuff that people will really want to know about. Without any further ado though, let's launch right into this. Starting off, there was a chocolate factory expansion with this update. This was the biggest thing on alpha. There were two new rabbit family employees, the uncle and the dog. The uncle grants you 6 chocolate per second per level, and the dog grants you 7. You unlock them after the first and second prestige respectively. They're not too different than the other employees, they're just bonus chocolate. They've also added shop milestones, which are pretty cool. Basically how this works is that you can get up to 24 new rabbits based on your total chocolate spent in the shop. This system grants you mythic rabbits earlier in the reward tree, and each rabbit is representing a letter from the Greek alphabet, so there is a Sigma rabbit. I know, very cool. There's also Prestige 5, which is pretty interesting. This allows you to grant a new rabbit rarity, Divine. 5 Starborn rabbits, which increase the maximum level of your rabbit family members by 1 each, up to a maximum of, you guessed it, 5. This also allows you to unlock new shop items, which we'll go over in a minute, increase the maximum storage from 25 billion to 60 billion, and increase your multiplier from 1 times to 1.5x, which is pretty good. There's also the new items, as I talked about before, in the shop. This is basically a Hoppity Abaphone contact, which you can get for 50 billion chocolate and Rabbit the fish. There's also a new chocolate dye, the new chocolate barn skin, which I think looks great, new chocolate fortune, which is pretty interesting. It grants you cocoa fortune every level, costing 2 billion per level, and 25 total levels with it, as well as the Abaphone contact, which I mentioned previously. These also require you to be at Prestige 4 and 5 respectively, Prestige 4 for the dye in the barn, and 5 for the fortune and also the Abaphone contact, which is pretty neat. Top of this, there's unlockable rabbits, quite a bit of stuff here, I know. Notably, you can get rabbits by doing certain activities, notably Necron, like Floor 7, M7. You can also get them based off of getting rabbits, or eggs rather, in certain locations, notably Hub. You have to find 15 different egg locations in the Hub. Shocking, I know. They've also added quite a few Crystal Hollow Nucleus egg locations. Basically, they want to make sure that people are actually running around during the event. They don't want people just, balled up in one spot, just AFKing it. And I totally agree, I think this is a good step in the right direction. The other changes here aren't too crazy. Notably, the stray rabbits are a little bit easier to get. And now you can also get golden rabbits, which are just better stray rabbits, which is pretty nice. Next up, I've also previously covered the Glacite changes, but to briefly go over stuff here, they've made it so that blocks broken with custom abilities can now affect mineshaft rates again, which is really cool. They've also buffed the scrap drop rates very significantly. As you can see, previously you would only get a scrap in a mineshaft your first one, 1 in 1,000 blocks. Now it's 1 in 200 on average, which is great. And this also goes down the whole list. As you can see, things are significantly better than they used to be. They also removed all the powder drops from corpses now that they give out a flat amount per corpse, but this means that Shattered Locket does become more common, which is a great change. They've adjusted some tungsten and umber block strengths, which is nice, and they've also made a bunch of bug fixes here, quite a few, which is really cool. Moving on, we have the bit shop getting a little bit of an update in the form of Toxify, which is a new stacking enchant for bows. You can purchase this for 4,000 bits. It grants you 10% extra combat XP and 10 crit chance at enchantment level 10. This was 20 on alpha, was probably nerfed because of, you guessed it, Terminator, and I think it's a pretty solid perk for your bows. I really like it. Now for the big new thing, combat tagging. This is the system in which you basically couldn't warp if you're in combat. They got rid of it. I think this is a great quality of life change. It allows you to open menus, warp while in combat. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Excellent stuff here. The game, if you're not in dungeons or in Kudra, is pretty low stress. I don't know why they needed a combat tag system to begin with. I think this is a great step in the right direction. You don't have to worry about a zealot hitting you, and now you can't move for the next 4 seconds or go anywhere. It's ridiculous, and I'm glad they changed that. Once again, they've also made it so that all dyes can now be applied to non-leather vanilla armor pieces, except for skull item heads, like the Warden helmet for example. You can apply dye onto them, which is great. They've also added enchanted clownfish to the clownfish collection, which is pretty interesting. And they've also made it so that crux milestones can happen on assists in the rift, which is pretty neat. There's also a 5th profile slot that you can purchase for 2,750 gems, which is about the price of Minecraft to begin with, so if you really want to go for that, you can if you're MVP plus or higher, which is pretty interesting. Also, you can now see your crit chance above 100% when checking your stats. And finally, we have a metric ton of bug fixes, as you can see here. The thread on the update pretty much wraps up right there without really any elaboration on something like the Better Mayors update or Primal Dragons or anything like that. Personally, I have no idea if they're canceling the Primal Dragons update, if they're going to do it but at a later date, or if they're just waiting for something like Better Mayors to be put on alpha. We currently have no idea what the admin's plan is, and hopefully we get some insight on that soon. At the end of the day though, my name's Derailious, thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future fellas, I'll see you then.